the same map. What the fuck? Hello, my name is Ethan and welcome back to another episode of 3.16 Scourge League 3.16. In this episode, we're going to be showcasing tier 16 Blight AFK. Let's fucking go with the Carrion Golems. We're back. It's absolutely insane. Here we go again. Boom. It's that time to do AFK T16 Blights. We have these two maps I'm going to be doing. I've rolled the magic, and this is opalescent double black oil. I basically have been experimenting with different oils. It can be triple azure, triple crimson, double crimson, one black, one crimson, two black, one opalescent, two black, however you want to go. Triple opalescent, mess around with those oils, basically between the azure, black, crimson, and the opalescent on the T16 or higher. And then I roll the magic for things that don't do anything. And we're going to be AFKing tier 16 Blight today. These are my flasks. I'll be going through all of it while we do the AFK Blight. So obviously, again, still no flesh offering being activated while we're AFK Blight. But at the beginning, we have to pull our Spectres out of the portal because they're stuck. So hello guys, and now we're playing the Carrion Golems, and let's, so last time we showed the AFK T15 Blight, now we're showing the T16, let's see if we can do it. No, I already know we can do it, and I already know it's consistent because I've been testing it like crazy, and I've been improving the build trying to get to this point. So for Blight, I use lunaris abberath. The abberath is for the burning ground, and what I do here at the beginning is I would like to build this tower, because it's the closest one to my spot, and then I'm hoping that the lane, I'll just commit to the bad one and show you what. So imagine I was sitting there AFK for 50 seconds, because I could have just went AFK right away, then it would have been the same thing. But basically, I put my minions, instead of centering it on the pump, I center it off the pump with Desecrate and then Flesh Offering, and now our build's AFK. So I like to go over the Flasks first, because I guess it's one of the coolest things to start off with how our build's AFK. So we're a Carrion Golem build, and Carrion Golems use the non-Golem minions, buff it up, and the Carrion Golems are killing everything. And we use 4 of them with a Necromancer. We're actually a Necromancer, and we have only 2 Primordial Harmonies, and they go crazy. And so the Carrion Golems care. We got 2 Carnage Chieftains, 1 Host Chieftain, and a Demon Harpy. The Demon's Harpy, the new thing from Scourge. But and we have our Animate Guardian that I have the video on. Now, that's my incubator, nice. So these flasks are auto-activated. It's really cool. So 4 of them are extremely important for Blight. I'd say that the Ruby flask is pretty much the most important flask I have here. And the mods is just increased duration, but basically 20% less fire damage taken because of the volatile flame blood. It's when you kill a monster that's a fireball spawns and comes to you and blows up with a % of their HP. It does fire damage. We only have 75 fire res, but we have 86 chaos, and we do the Zabakwa thing where we make half of the elemental go against our chaos, and we have 86 chaos, so we take less. And then we have less fire damage taken with the Ruby flask. This is nice for the volatile flame blood. And then I realized, just like this Ruby flask, so we can use the instilling orbs and the crafting recipe on the crafting bench. You can craft with 5 instilling orbs, 5 glass blowers, baubles you can use when charges reach full. So as we're killing in the map and as the turrets kill, we are basically just infinitely sustaining our flasks. Especially this one is 11 seconds. This one's 9, 8, 8. So this one's the longest, so it's up the most, and it has only a 20 cost compared to the other ones of 30. Also, a Sapphire Flask Taste of Hate is only 20. They buffed this. Also, they made the duration go up. Taste of Hate used to be 20% of phys taken as cold, but now it's 15%. So this is insane. So not only do we get the 20% less cold damage, but it has the 15% phys damage taken as cold. And for our build, physical is one of our weakest spots. That's why taking physical as an element that then also gets converted to chaos that we have really high chaos of. It's like the helmet craft that I did of 8% phys as fire. I'm also thinking of chestplate mods of phys as chaos. It would be really nice, because we have 86 chaos res, and then this one's automatically getting used on full as well. And so with this build, we actually have 2 of the element flasks. We have cold res and fire res, so we actually go up to high numbers, which is kind of funny that like these are really tanky and really powerful what they do for your build. And that's the only reason we use it for. 20% less cold, and the 15% phys is cold. And then this one's the less fire, increased duration. And then I have the increased armor granite flask. I finally upgraded, guys. We have the proper granite flask, gives what it should give, is armor, and increased duration. And then I have jade flask with evasion, increased evasion. So while I use this, I'm getting 3,000 off of just the flask. That's really cool. It's not nothing, it's useful. And then, yeah, my armor goes up to 21,000 off of this instead of like 11,000. And then, to explain the Forbidden Taste real quick. So don't quality this one up, but basically when I take a savage hit, which is 15% of my life in a single hit, this will trigger and heal me for full. So if a volatile flame blood hits me, it'll trigger this, and then I instantly am back up to full, and it makes me take 25% of my life as chaos damage per second, which is about, it would be 1,000, but I have 86 chaos res, so I'm only taking like 140. I'm only taking 140 chaos damage, and I have 223 regen, so I can sustain the damage from the Forbidden Taste and still regen. And this full heals me 4,000. So when I only have 200 regen, being able to skip to full in a flask is very powerful, and the synergy with this build with the chaos res, this is just what we figured out last season, and this is still in the game, so we're gonna still use it. Yeah. This is really powerful. I love how strong this is. You can even technically use this on bossing and take this off of being automated and just click this and you have a full heal. Like, it's insane. You could even, yeah, have it automated for the boss. Anyways, back to the build. That's just the flasks. So the flasks help our survivability an absolute shit ton, obviously. All the defenses. And they're always up. And then for the gems, I'll go over the specters. So I said I have the 2 Carnage Chieftains found in Act 2 Old Fields. We have the Host Chieftain from Act 7 Ashen Fields, and we have the Demon Harpy from the new League mechanic. My Animate Guardian is in, I have a video on it, how to make it. There's a 15C budget version, and then there's the upgraded Kingmaker version. Kingmaker was when I already had the Intimidate from the Awaken Melee Phys level 5. So we're going to open up these together, but I'll open up all the poop. And then, yeah, we'll open up together. I won't loot all the stuff, but yeah, I'll continue talking about the build. So, the Carrion, the Spectre link, I use Feeding Frenzy and Spell Echo. So we don't actually have to use Life Tap anymore. This is a little tip for people watching. Life Tap isn't necessary for the last 2 years on the monkeys. We just made a mistake, and a million people made a mistake, and we finally are correcting it and trying to make it right and fixing it, so we don't use life tap anymore on the Spectre for the monkey. We don't need it. You'll try it, it'll be a 6-second cooldown. That's just how it works. And then you now can go Spell Echo, which basically never really works on the monkeys, but it works for the harpy, and the concept is it's 1 gem slot for an additional harpy, basically, because the harpy by itself can only get about 12 stacks, and it needs to get to 20 to get its 60% increased physical damage taken. Saint's treasure. So if it can only get to 12 on its own, and running an entire extra harpy would be really costly, and if it has a 9-second cooldown and only like a 2-second duration or 3-second duration, then and it has like a 1-second cast on its thing, then its uptime is only like 25%, so it isn't worth investing an entire extra Spectre in. But having 1 that gets doubled with just a Spell Echo gem seemed really powerful, so I did that. Opalescent, because like it's either running an extra harpy to be able to get the stacks up to 20, or using the Spell Echo on it. Yeah, but then I like the Feeding Frenzy because it increases the aggro range of the Animate Guardian and the Spectre. Spectres are so aggressive, it's insane. We go again, and I wanted to mention at the beginning, put sacrifice fragments for 5% quant per, so you get an extra 20 quants, so we have 50. Okay, so now back into the build. So I explained the Spectres and the Animate Guardian, how it's linked to the stuff. I'll explain our auras real quick for people following what I've done now up to this point. So we were running Destructive Aspect to get the Pride mana reservation efficiency in the small cluster, but we swapped it to the 2 small clusters of the Born of Chaos. We have the 6% max chaos res. We go to 86% max chaos res. Made 2 turrets. I'm going to put the minions on the right side over here and do it. Yeah, I'm going to offset it because of how the pump is here, and then the tower's on the right side. Okay, so then we have 2 Born of Chaos instead of the destructive aspect. So how do we get the mana reserve? How do we have 80 mana without running the extra pride reserve? I anointed charisma. Gold oil is way cheaper now. This is 2 gold, 1 opalescent instead of doing Ravenous Horde, and we just path Ravenous Horde. And I changed some pathing here with Dread March and Renewal without taking sacrifice, and I haven't had any minion survivability issues, so therefore this is actually really good and has actually been an improvement because I saved skill points and gained life, and I gained the extra mana reserve, and I gained the extra chaos res, so all around it was like buff, more damage too. I think it was just a huge improvement with repathing and spending a little bit more and doing more clusters, which yeah, and then the clusters can actually be better. These are dog shit. This is like the worst you can get, and it's just showing you that they only get better. It's actually insane. So like, it's the minimum. This is what you want at the base, and then you can craft them up like crazy, but we're not there yet. Yeah, so that's that. Now the auras, so I explained how I was able to fit it without it, but now I run Pride, Determination, Skitterbots with Unbound Ailments, Dread Banner with the Generosity, and then yeah, we fit all of those with that mana reserve. We do the 25% from the Determination on this Armor Mastery, and we have the Charisma, and we have the Sovereignty Wheel with 15%. It's pretty cool. It's pretty strong. I like it. That's all you need. Easy. Way simpler. I get a little bit more than you because I have a 2% here, but I don't think you need it, so yeah. It doesn't change anything. Ooh, I got a Stygian Vice. Nice. What eye level? 83. Okay, now to continue. The Carrion Golems. For the start, let's go. I'm a Necro. Why do I go Necro for Carrion? Because I don't care about the Golem buff effect of an Elementalist. For Carrion Golem, I like the levels for the Carrion Golem. I like all this damage. I like the package that we get in Necro. I like the survivability for the Spectre and the zombies and the Animate Guardian. Since you have to run zombies, and zombies are your weakest minion in your build, Necro helps, where Elementalist is Golems, and Elementalist doesn't have a 4th Ascendancy, and Elementalist lost its Elemental Ailment immunity, and Elementalist is better as a Stone Golem or a Chaos Golem build because you have the Golem buff effect. You really want to fit those in, and then it's really awkward because the old build that we used to do, we used to stack Harmonies. This is now getting to my next thing. So in this build, we only now run 2 Harmonies, Primordial Harmonies. We run Perfects. So what is a perfect Primordial Harmony? 45 of the summoned Golems have 45% increased cooldown recovery rate. You want that 45, and the increased Golem damage 20. The reason is the Golem has an ability to leap slam, as you can see them jumping around, and we want that on a lower cooldown, so instead of Eminence, because we don't care about the buff effect, and so we go for the 2 Harmonies to lower the cooldown from 4 seconds to 2.3, and so it's like literally twice as good for the leap slam. We really like the leap slam. It was pretty much the main reason we use this minion over the other one, right? So that's why wouldn't we invest a tiny bit if we have to go Primordial Jewels to do the Anima Stone? You have to use 3 Primordial Jewels, so in this case we do the 1 Primordial Might because it gives us the aggressive. It's like a 7 link. We don't have to run Feeding Frenzy in our main link, which increases the aggro range of our Carrion Golem, and then we have the 2 Harmonies, which lowers the leap slam cooldown, so they're more mobile in that area, and then they also have the extra damage and they have the regen, so that's also nice, right? They're not squishy like zombies. They are squishy like zombies, but they're not actually because they're Golems and they have all the Golem jewels and shit and the Golem support. But it's really cool because that extra fat regen, like that's 4% from 2 Harmonies. What is that, dude? When we used to run like 5-7 Harmonies for the Harmony stacking for the cooldown to make them perma slam and shit for the Stone Golems, or for this to leap slam and to use its cascade, dude, it's pretty crazy because you would be getting like 10 to 14% regen. So we don't do that anymore, and then the second thing, when we played Elementalist, we were doing 3 Golems, and Primordial Harmony gives you 20% increased Golem damage for each Golem type. So in that build it would give us 60% because we had 3 different types of Golems, but in this build we're only running Carrion Golem, so we only get 20, and so stacking harmonies is less effective. And so then you say, okay, but is it effective to go 3 golems and then harmony stack? No, it wasn't effective. It was just something we did before that was a mistake that we've improved upon, and we are now doing the better thing, and there's no way to go back like that. Okay, so 2 harmonies, Primordial Mine, Anima Stone, and we go Carrion Necro because it's better and we don't care about the buff effect, and Carrion Golems are just carries, and then we use the other things to buff them up, and this is the full complete package. It's insane. Some missing stuff just because I've covered everything else but this. I use cast when damage taken with Immortal Call level 1, level 3. And very important to keep this at level 1, this level 3. You can swap this for Molten Shell for mapping at level 10 Molten Shell. But yeah, the level 3 Immortal Call for Blight. This is really important for the Volatile Flameblood. I've explained it before when I did an Immortal Call versus Molten Shell video, but Immortal Call basically works on Volatile Flameblood, but Molten Shell doesn't. You can test it yourself. You can use Immortal Call. It'll reduce the damage you take from the Volatile Flameblood, but the Molten Shell you die, and you're like, I don't get it, and it's like, yep. So then phase run with Anomalous phase run with increased duration gets it to a 3.5 second duration. When you have frenzy charges, it's infinite basically. You can keep doing it over and over. So with because we have 2 Carnage Chieftains, and what happens is they make frenzy charges, and phase run can consume the frenzy charges to increase the duration by 100% base duration. So it basically gives you infinite. It makes it last too long, so it's good. 3.5 though without it, which is almost up 100%. It's really good, and it's nice for looting Blight after because you get to speed up. Let's look at this guy's wands in the video. T Exile, TZ, how you doing? Do I know you? Oh my god, 54 minion damage and 15 attacks. He's upgraded. Holy shit, yo, grats, man. Grats, dude. Huge wands. Orb of Annulment, nice. We got Crimson Oil. Okay, so then, is there any... I'll go over the extra stuff, but yeah, let's loot this Blight map together. We phase run, we have Flame Dash, we don't have Trigger yet. Main reason is, I believe that the Trigger will increase the cost of the Flesh Offering by 150% more, which is 250% of the cost, and it's 38, so... It's going to be like 90 something, and I only have 87 mana, so I would have to have a lot of mana, or I would have to do something else like life tap or something to be able to do that. I'm not really sure what I want to do yet for that. It sounds like a nightmare, and we haven't looked at that yet. Mana in 3.16, still a thing that I'm looking at. Haven't fully figured out what I want to do with it, or if I want to run more stuff and run more mana reserve, because it's possible to run mana reserve Helm, mana reserve Ami, mana reserve Shield, mana reserve on small clusters. There's aura effect on the chest plate and on the shield. You know, all the aura stuff is still there except for the aura effect medium clusters. So, I'm wondering what's possible, and because that's pretty much the next thing to look at. We have some strong auras in our build, like the Terminating. Let's see what we could do, but yeah, can't use Trigger yet. Basically, is my point. Because of the mana. So I have a zombie in the build I mentioned, and I have it on a Feeding Frenzy for Blight 2. And you may go, why that? It's to keep them aggressive as well, because you need the zombies near the Carrion Golems, and it is really helpful for Blight. It's less needed for other things, but in Blight especially, it's good for the bossing. And then Maim, they're also increasing the physical damage taken by 10%. This is like 6% more damage, I think. And then, yeah, the zombies being nearby is a lot more damage, and yeah, they can also apply the Feeding Frenzy, which overlaps the other one, but luckily they have the same duration, so it doesn't matter. If they're a different level, it messes it up. And then I have Desecrate Flesh Offering, which I don't use. It's Divergent Flesh Offering, but I don't use it while I'm AFK Blight, obviously. I just use it at the beginning. You can use abilities to command your minions, if you didn't know. And so I do that at the beginning to command my minion on top of the pump. On both of them, as I showed you, I can choose where they're going to be centered. And then I imagine it like this. Imagine I put them right here. Then they have a circle like this. And so if I put it all the way over there, their circle will be over here. And their aggro would reach, maybe this would be the edge of the screen for them. And it's kind of funny how you can control where they are even though you stand somewhere else. So you can do some AFK weird shit. It's pretty interesting. Nice. And I'll go through my items now. Alright, now I want to go over some of the cool stuff from the gear. So on the, I mentioned this early in an earlier video, but basically I like to sum it all up in each package as we go through the gear. So basically the implicits on the glove and the boot give you reduced elemental ailment duration on you and 100%. Well, apparently we're 100% element immune, except for shock ground and chilled ground. And then we're chilled ground immune because of the garb of the ephemeral, can't be action speed slowed. Pretty cool. Then the next thing, I crafted 59% chance to avoid bleeding on the boot, and that apparently with a jewel with 25% chance to avoid bleeding, and I also have a primordial might with chance to avoid bleeding, and this is 100% chance to avoid bleeding, so I'm immune to bleeding. So I'm ailment immune, bleed immune, and then we have we give 1 billion levels to minions through our gear. So I'll go through the main like buffs of damage. So it's like 2 levels here and the minion damage and the attack speed. Minion damage, attack speed and 2 levels and minion damage. So people ask, when do you swap from cold iron points to the wands? To be honest, it takes, so the cold iron points, the 2 cold iron points is as good as a +2 wand with crafted attack speed with 15%. It's insane. It's crazy that it costs that much. It's a couple, it's like 3x just to compete with a cold iron point, and that's why the cold iron point was 1.5x at the league start. So if you can't get a +2 with minion attack speed crafted, it's not better than the cold iron point. And also, the reason you swap is so you maybe could go trigger. We haven't even done it yet. But the second reason is this gives levels to spell skill gems and minion skill gems, where the other one was physical. The main difference between this is you still get the level on the Carrion Golems, but then you also get the level on the Spectre and your zombie, which might have had issues with the 2 cold iron points. Not so much of an issue when we run Necro, but you would definitely have an issue if you try to run this as an elementalist. They would be so squishy, it's insane, because you're running cold iron points. They have no levels, they have no support. It's awful. So when you swap to the cold convoking wands, it's really powerful on the zombies. You get an extra zombie, then you get the extra Spectre, because you get the extra levels on the Spectre. You don't even have to have the extra levels helmet. You get to craft the helmet easier. I just use pristine fossils. I look for minion life and life. It's really easy compared to using bound fossils and trying to get +1, +2, and minion life. Like and then you have to craft life and hope for an open prefix. It's really tough. Whereas this is just pristine fossils, and it's way easier if you can get the levels from the convoking ones. So that's why the convoking ones are really nice, and they're expensive, and you have to craft them with the 4-socket resonator. We have the +2 wand video, but yeah, that's the explanation of why and when you would swap, and how they could, even though there's the same power and damage, they technically have an extra benefit of buffing up your specters and zombies. It's really nice. Yeah. So then when you get the extra minion damage, if you have an open prefix and you craft minion damage, this is way more damage than a cold iron point after. Okay, so that's the tip. So just the attack speed equal, but then when you get the minion damage, oh my god, that's why waiting on the trigger has been like fine, because look at what I'm able to get on my wands. They're so strong now. So then we go for the +2 amulet. I have a video on this. It's the +1 intelligence skill gems, the +1 physical skill gems, and it's a hunter warlord 82 for both. And we use a citron for the strength dex, and I multied with life and endurance charge. I do the 3 endurance charges. People always ask, how do you get the 3 endurance charges? This is from the 3 minimum endurance crafts: rings and Ami, June unveil, suffix, craft. And then the chest plate, this is +2. You don't need this +4. The main stuff you're looking for is +1 active skill gems and +1 intelligence skill gems. I have a video on it. +2 body armor, and then the extra strength does level up all of these gems by 1, so that is nice. And this one's the intelligence. That is nice, especially for getting your gems to level 5. But you don't need the socketed strength or the socketed dex, and maybe you could hit other things that are better, like physical damage reduction, etc. And so this is my current chest plate, gives 2 levels, and we're up to 32 on the Carrion Golem. It's insane. And then it's funny. If you are able to res cap and do all your stuff without needing to craft a suffix on your glove, then you're able to do a minion damage prefix of a 20%, which is really nice. And then on the rings, with an open prefix, you can slam at item level 70, 75, 80 for 3 tiers of minion damage. Obviously 80 is the highest tier, tier 1, and then I got tier 3 on this one, and it's only tier 2, item level 75. So I hit tier 3, 17 minion damage with a Redeemer's Exalted Orb. This one I did tier 2, and I was looking for tier 1, obviously 81. I had the item level of 80, but I hit T2, and so we got the 21 minion damage. And then that was pretty cool. These rings are insane. I actually got lucky on both. Oh, I only missed once. I hit a projectile attack damage. And then, yeah, this is just life chaos, and I showed you the reduced ailment. The reduced ailment duration, I forgot to mention, that's synthesis implicit. You get that from like Heist, Delirium. You look up for the bases, and they're really expensive apparently. And you can look for less instead of 36%, but this is preferred, and then it's pretty expensive for the bases now, because I was looking to craft more to make a new base or a new boot, but or a new glove, and it's like, oh my god, now they're expensive. Great. Fuck, man. why is it expensive? So then the boot's just life, move speed, reses, and void bleed is really cool. Normally we used to do cannot be frozen as the craft, but bleed immune, and then maybe eventually we just get it through the jewel corruptions anyways, and we don't have to get it at all through the gear, and that would be really cool, because you can just apparently get 25%, and if you did that 4 times, there you go. Because there's even the new Tainted Blessed, right? Is that a thing? Is Tainted Blessed a thing? I don't know. We have the rest of them. Maybe that one's a thing too. But is there anything else to go through? I'd mentioned the phys taken as fire for the helmet. I did that as a craft. You get that as a Corel Unveil. It costs 1x. It's really good, really strong, extremely powerful. I guess as a side, some things people would say, what can you upgrade? Maybe fix the suffixes on the helmet. Like I said, maybe make this Awakener Orb with reduced mana. Maybe we go reduced mana on this instead. Maybe we swap out the chest plate because we don't need the +2 if we go to 30, and maybe there's something more powerful with maybe auras. Mana reserve, maybe a shield's really cool. Maybe fixing the suffixes here, because I have rarity and fire res 6%, and this one has 50 life, and I told you the void bleed could be done in implicits on the thing. And then this one is no influence Stygian Vice. It's budget. I could make a very expensive one, or I could get a very expensive one, but I'm just holding off for now. It's just extra life basically. It's increased life, it's hunter, it's expensive. For the things I want, it's pretty expensive. And then, oh yeah, this is very important in the Stygian Vice. I have a Ghastly Eye Jewel, and this is Corrupted Blood immunity, so that's where I get it. And I told you I have the Void Bleeding, that's why I get that. Or otherwise I would be using a Life Flask. I think I got rid of it. I would be using a Life Flask with grants immunity to bleeding, and then Corrupted Blood if used while bleeding or Corrupted Blood, and it's an instant life flask, and that would be my replacement for the Forbidden Taste, especially if I didn't have Chaos Res. And then I think an honorable thing I should mention, this is life, taunt, blind, and so the taunt is nice because it reduces the damage the enemy deals to the people who aren't taunting them. So the minions taunt, I take less damage, and they attack the minions instead of me. And then the blind got nerfed, but now we have evasion with the Jade Flask, and we also have Dread Banner with nearby enemies have less accuracy, and so you could also use this with Enfeeble. I'm just not hardcore, so we don't need to go that crazy, dude, but there's so many possibilities to stack this shit. Yep, really good. Also, it works with Phase Run, because it decreases the amount that the enemy sees you, and then like it increases your stealth, and then the stealth actually interacts well with blind, because blind decreases their light radius, and then they're less accurate too. And then with the evasion it actually works. It's pretty cool. Yeah. Okay. seems it. That seems like it. I've made. There's all my upgrades. That's my whole build. That's how I AFK. Oh no, one more. So we did Zabaqua, and I mentioned the clusters. So large cluster. What we go for is Rotting Claws. Vicious Bite is better than Renewal. So technically, if you had to do a 2 notable, Rotting Claws, Vicious Bite is better. Rotting Claws, Renewal is fine. You don't want a Vicious Bite Renewal. You would rather it have Rotting Claws because you're going for the 100% Impale. You get the 100% Impale with the Rotting Claws, Dread, Banner, Generosity, and the Impale support. We use Divergent Impale support because it gives the extra 5% additional Impale, which is better than just Impale effect. And then this is our large cluster. I do an 8 passive minion damage, and it has to be 75 plus for Vicious Bite. The dex is nice, but I don't even need it anymore, actually, because I'm not running a thingy that requires a high amount of dex anymore. And then, yeah, Vicious Bite, Rotting Claws, Renewal, and then I could get an extra suffix better than that one. I switched to 2 Dread Marches, so I didn't really explain this, but basically, Dread March Renewal is phys damage reduction, Chaos Res, Life, Move Speed, and then Regen and damage, double damage. So I deleted Grave Pact and Sacrifice, and just by doing that, I was able to gain the mediums, which is similar regen, more physical damage reduction, more Chaos Res, and then the more damage. And a little bit less regen, but it should work out. It should be pretty good. And then I was able to get my 2 smalls, which got me to my 86 max chaos. Very important for to be like the old Zabaqua is what I was trying to do, because the old Zabaqua would give us 10 max chaos instead of 5, so we had to invest a little bit more, but we got the same power level. That's really strong. Yeah.